We have a big program ahead, and it gives me a great deal of pleasure to welcome to the podium two of the current crop of Carlton players. One, as we heard earlier, is here representing his dad, Vin. The other, not on the field at the moment, but by God, we're looking forward to seeing him back in action. He's a terrific player. To have a chat with Tim Lane, would you please welcome Jarrad Waite and Matthew Kreuzer.
Okay, can everyone see the boys here? Probably a bit hard over there, but anyway, we'll just have to get by with what we've got. Good to have you up here, Jarrad and Matt. Jarrad, first, you're here representing your dad as well as being here as a present-day player. Yep. They're special moments, really, when you're celebrating not only a great event, but your late father's role in it.
Yeah, obviously, Carlton has meant a lot to me over the time, and Dad obviously spent a fair bit of time down here, and like I've always said, it's much appreciated for the club to give me an opportunity and to sort of live on his legacy and wear his number. And yeah, it's just another one of those days where I really enjoy and sort of reminisce about the times. He didn't really speak much about footy, but whenever he did, you could always tell he was very excited about it. And yeah, no, it's days like this where you sort of miss him, but it's part of life, and yeah, it's just good to represent him.
So what year were you born? Late 80s?
83.
83.
Early 80s.
Early 80s, yeah. So he didn't talk much about 1970 at all?
No, not a whole lot. I used to try and get stuff out of him, but he always used to go, "Oh, you don't want to hear my old stories," and so yeah, no, he didn't really talk that much, but about it. But every chance he got, I come to a couple of times when past players functions when I was like 8 or 9 and got some photos and still got them at home. So when the opportunity did come around, he used to love going to them, catching up with the old boys, and always catch up with Sid whenever I sort of see him. So it's good that side of it. I'm sort of catch up with a few of the boys and really enjoy it. So yeah.
And I assume you had no choice but to grow up a Carlton supporter.
Yes, yeah, sort of. I rebelled for a bit. I went for Essendon until.
Ooh.
Yeah, I know.
This is a dark truth coming out now.
The dark truth I was about 13, 14, and yeah, my cousins went for Essendon, and then a couple of my sister's boyfriends, and sort of rebelled. But I think Dad knew down that if I was going to go anywhere and play footy, I was always going to go to Carlton. So he had the last laugh.
So this is all learning experience, because you haven't grown up actually hearing about and even reading about and inquiring about the history of those great years.
I obviously know about them because it's pretty hard not to, and people do inform you about it. And my sisters definitely loved that Dad played for Carlton, and they're all mad Carlton supporters. And now that once you're sort of entrenched in it, you get involved, and I do love every second of it. And it was probably just two or three period of time when I went for Essendon, and then sort of realised myself that I wasn't going to go anywhere else apart from Carlton.
Were counsellors called in to? I mean, that is a very serious infirmity that you were suffering from. I mean, I'd imagine there'd be people at the club very worried about a young man who had ever showed those sorts of tendencies.
Nah, it was all good. Dad, like I said, Dad was pretty confident that if I was ever going to play VFL, AFL, I was always going to go to Carlton, and like I said, I'm rapt to be here and rapt to represent the family.
It's a great thing, and it's great to have you here in the capacity that you're here today, as the crowd have already expressed. We'll talk shortly about how the season's playing out and what lies beyond, because we're looking to the future as well as looking back to some great deeds in the past. But Matthew, terrific to have you here. We need a progress report before anything else on how you're going with the knee.
Yeah, I'm not getting up too much at the moment. Start training again Monday. Obviously been on holidays for the last 6 weeks, so it's finally good to start doing something again.
So you start on the Monday coming, or the Monday just gone?
No, the Monday coming, so
right.
2 days left of holidays, I think.
And so what does that involve in the early stages?
Probably just a lot of rehab, strengthening the leg back up, getting all the range of movement back, and obviously Jared's been through it, so we're trying to get a few tips off him.
Do you actually share a bit, bearing in mind that it is an experience that no sportsman wants to have?
Yeah, obviously I've talked to Jared a little bit about it, well, since it's happened, but I'm sure I'll hit him up a few more times before the season starts.
Jared, of course, has had a few holidays this year for different reasons. You did tell us in the 3AW box one day, Jared, that you'd perhaps inherited just a few too many of your old man's characteristics.
Yeah, a few have started to slip out. I think they've always sort of tendency to be there, and yeah, Rats has hit me up a couple of times where there's probably been other times where I haven't been cited where I've been very close to. So, and yeah, Mum always says I remind her a bit of Dad, so remind me of Dad. So, but yeah, keeping him in check now and a few things in place. So yeah, don't get suspended again because it's not good for the team, and especially having an interrupted year last year and then this year, you sort of want to play consistent each year and get consistency back in my game. But being suspended, I've got no one else to blame but myself, and yeah, it's rightfully that the club were disappointed at me.
And what sort of advice have you been able to give your big mate next to you?
Yeah, no, I know the first few weeks when after surgery you're pretty down, and I just had a couple of DVDs that I sent Cruz his way, and so I just sort of tried to help him out. I didn't really hammer him about getting his knee and that right, because I know the person that Matthew is, he'll do the rehab better than anyone that's ever done it before, and we're not really worried about that. He's just got to relax and realise that it is going to take time, and the player that he is and the way he moves, he'll be able to get everything back the way he was beforehand. And times have changed where 10 years ago blokes couldn't come back at the same ability, but I actually feel better. My left knee is now better than my right knee was before surgery, so which isn't good for my right knee, but it just shows how much the rehab has changed now, and how good it is and professional it is these days.
Which boot did you use for that controversial behind the other night?
I used the right one, so yeah, just scraped on. Should have been a push in the back anyway, but still won.
Shh, get fined for that. Yeah, they've got these thought police everywhere. Matthew, how have you been getting on as a spectator?
Yeah, probably not the best. Obviously, never really sat in the stands and watched footy before, but it is tough. But obviously, the boys had a good win on Friday night, which makes it a bit easier.
Do you feel involved? What's it like when you're enduring a prolonged period on the sidelines? I suppose you don't go to as many meetings and all that sort of thing, but do you still feel as though you're part of the group?
Yeah, I also haven't been to any meetings since I've had it, trying to stay out of them. So, no, but it's still, I try and get down the club a couple of times a week and get around the boys and that, and obviously they all make you feel welcome, just like going to training each day. But no, it's been good, and I just look forward to get down there in the next couple of weeks and during finals.
And you would have been pleased when you picked up the Herald Sun yesterday that you chose not to have the Lars treatment. It produces quick results, but got a bit of a bad rap yesterday.
I actually didn't see it, but I heard about it. But now I'm confident that surgery I had is going to be good for me, and I'll be back next year.
Now, what about a day like this? Do you like catching up with the old blokes and sort of looking down on Big Nick as though he's a rover? How do you get on with the big fella?
No, he's good. Obviously, it's good to come along these days and hear about the history of the club and hear some of the old boys' stories and that and what they got up to. And it's really good, especially the golf day. And you play 18 holes of golf with the old boys and hear about all the stories and tell you about what happens. And it's really good.
Is it eye-opening to you blokes to think that a team could come from 44 points down at half-time in a grand final?
Yeah, I suppose it just shows the confidence that the players had in their own ability, and like saying before that if teams have done it before, I know a couple of years ago we weren't going too well, but we knew we'd be able to run out quarters. And once you sort of get that confidence, you know that it doesn't matter how far you're down, you can sort of win. And I remember talking to Cooter a few years ago, like in the 95 and that, and they'd go to the game knowing they were going to win. And we obviously haven't had that in the last few years, but I think that's what it would have been like back in the day, and it's something that we want to get to, and it is that arrogance that you've got, but it's also confidence and arrogance that you're going to win, and that's where Carlton belong, and that's where we want to be.
Well, it's as Big Nick said, we've got to look to the future, and we're hoping it's a bright one, and that it's bright before very much more time has passed. Matthew, how are you reading the future? What are you imagining the Blues could achieve next year? There's
Obviously,
this year to go, of course. We're expecting finals, but as we look beyond to a real build.
yeah, obviously we sat down at the start of the year and we just come up with a few things, and we wanted to make it part of our culture and how it was back in the old days, that we're expected to play finals and go a long way. So hopefully the next few years we can keep taking those little steps and keep improving, and younger players get more experience, and yeah, just try and go the whole way.
Terrific to have you both up here, ladies and gentlemen. Please thank Jared Waite, son of Vin, and Matthew Cruiser.
Thank you.
Thank you, fellas. And the great man, Craig Doyen Willis, is back.